Now they don't sit on the 40 acres on campus grounds. We gather round, discussing goals and dreams and life's adventures. The Texas Longhorns, they the talk of the town. High castles of the 40 acres, where we dive deep into the game day stories. From touchdowns to heartbreakers, we discuss it all. Texas Longhorns glory. Yeah, we gather round each Thursday night, talking sports, it's so alright. From football to basketball, baseball to softball, Tim Wayne and Harry, we cover it all. Sports talk is our passion, our delight. Thursday night at 8:30, we unite. We discuss the scores, the plays, the teams who might. Let's dive into the game, let's ignite.
12 conference champions.
Yo, what is up? What is up? It's been a minute since you've seen us. We've been gone for a couple weeks now.
Weeks.
Took last week. All hell broke loose in the sports world when we left. And so, yeah.
No, seriously.
We'll talk a little bit about that. Tim's favorite rival won the Super Bowl. So lots happened in the last couple weeks. And, of course, assistant coaches are getting poached from start. And it's starting to happen as you would expect from a great program, right? These are things that you expect. So we'll talk a lot about all that stuff and more. Jim Schlossnagel, the new big bro in town. His first season starts tomorrow. We were supposed to have Nash on, but some last minute things came up, so he's not going to be able to make it. We will reschedule that. Don't worry about it. But yeah, we have a lot to talk about. But first, before I get started, Tim Wayne, how you doing, man?
Yeah. We're gonna talk about the Super Bowl, so that's one thing.
Okay.
The coach is getting poached. That's another thing. This beef between Xavier Worthy and Steve Smith. That's another.
That was crazy, bro.
This is insane. So,
it's so weird.
we got baseball season starting tomorrow. Valentine's Day is tomorrow. We've got a number of things going. Like, it is absolutely insane right now.
Yeah, definitely lots of stuff to talk about. So, yeah, we'll get to it all. We'll try to squeeze it all in the hour that we've got before we get started. Of course, FanBattleSports.com, where you can get the latest and greatest from the AFC South, including the Colts, the Titans, the Texans, and the Jaguars. Articles, past episodes, AFC South related, and of course, us here at FanBattleSports.com. If you want to start your own show, hit us up on the contact us page. Let us know, and we'll get y'all set up. FanBattleSports.com. All right. Follow us on Twitter, @LHFanBattle. We are so close to 3,000 followers. You guys can help us get there. We really appreciate it. We've been having a lot of fun over the last. Man, I feel like the last 4 months of engagement on like Twitter and TikTok have been a lot of fun. We're almost at 1,000 followers on TikTok. Help us get there. I think, Tim, what are we at? Like 915?
I think we've officially crossed that threshold. I think I can go check real quick.
Yeah.
Oh no, we're at 915, but we've got 12,000. We've got 12,000 likes. We've got tons of stuff out there, and man, and we're right there at the cusp. We're going to continue to pump out content. It's been I went on like a little bit of a vacation. You went on a vacation, and so it's just been kind of slower on the TikTok end, but we'll get back to the norm. I promise.
Of course, help us get to 1,000. That'd be cool to get to 1,000 before. I don't know if we'll get to 1,000 first, or if Rodney Terry gets us to the NCAA tournament first. We'll see what happens.
Oh God, no, dude.
We'll see what happens first.
Nah,
So,
that's good. That's gonna make me mad. That's gonna make me mad. Dude, that's gonna take me over the edge, bro.
and of course, while you're here, like, comment, subscribe, follow the show. 100 subscribers, guys. We're trying to get to 100. So help us get to 100 subscribers. We really appreciate it. And of course, started 10. Should we start? Let's start with what's old and what's changed, right? Obviously, Blake Gideon leaves last week, right? And listening to a couple of folks and reading up on some articles here, it sounds like this was a complete surprise. Steve Sarkisian essentially told the assistant coaches to take a week off, and Blake Gideon took that week off. He went to Atlanta and he kind of did a thing, and he becomes the defensive coordinator at Georgia Tech, which is a program. I think Georgia Tech is a program on the rise. So I don't blame Blake Gideon for taking this role. I don't blame him at all, because it is a role that listen. It's one of those roles where, like, if Blake Gideon does well in Georgia Tech, it's gonna boost his career, right? But Blake Gideon ends up leaving Texas, goes to Georgia Tech. And what were your immediate reactions when you heard that Blake Gideon was leaving?
I was shocked that Blake Gideon actually took the position. I thought he would stick around a little bit more, honestly, with what he's done for the defensive secondary. I would assume that he would, stick around, see what he can do. Honestly, I thought, and this is just me being a homer, this is me being a fan, right? I'm thinking to myself that Blake would be a lifer here, until he got until maybe he got something, maybe bigger, maybe an MFL job, maybe a positions coaching position in the NFL. I thought for sure while his time in college, coaching through the college ranks, he would be a Longhorn lifer for sure.
Okay.
And shout out to Ashley. Appreciate you coming in here.
Thank you for coming in. Please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Ashley, we really appreciate it. Just go ahead and hit that big red subscribe button. It says subscribe.
You know who that is, right?
I know. That's why I said it. I know exactly who that is. So yeah, here's the thing about Blake Gideon. I think he's a coach on the rise, and I think because of that, when you are a coach that is as popular as he is, if you look at what he's done just in the last 2 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Forget recruiting, right? Obviously, you bring in Jonah Williams, you help bring in Andrew Makuba, you get him. Look at the development of players that he has done in the last couple of years. There was a lot of speculation the first year he was here, right? And the safeties did not play well. But if you look at last season, just take Michael Taft by himself, right? Mm-hmm. The work that he's done with Michael Taft and how appreciate it, Ashley, and how he is become the premier safety of this safety room, right? In just 2 years of work. The work he did with Andrew Makuba at Clemson was pretty good. But he has now turned into very good. So good that he's probably going to go in the second round, right? So when you have success like that and you have it at a big school like that and just a second position role, and then you see where, like, the trajectory of, like, a Georgia Tech is. Georgia Tech, again, I think is a program that's on the rise. That's a team that's going to be dangerous. Haynes King is coming back. They had a couple big upsets last year that nobody really talked about. Like, obviously, they go to 8 overtimes versus Georgia. They should have won that game.
Yep.
If Blake Gideon can get a little, if he can go in there and actually insert some juice into their defense and create some havoc, you're talking about a guy that's going to go be a DC at a big program very soon. And so when you have those opportunities for coaches that aspire to do those things, you can't say no. Right. So does it suck? Absolutely. But am I mad about it? Not at all. Go do you, Blake. Go listen. Listen, Blake. I know you didn't get the interception in 2008. Don't fumble this one, my guy. Don't fumble.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity. So, good luck to him. We're really, really excited for him. I think the one thing that I was very impressed with this and the coaching search to replace Blake Gideon was took a little bit longer, right?
Right.
Fans were like, "Why is it taking so long?" All these guys are like falling off the board, and I'm curious about your thoughts on some of the other hires around the country here in a second. But then they go in and they pick up Mark Orphy, who is the safeties coach from Rutgers. And for those of you guys that are not familiar with Mark Orphy is very very, very well known. And not only the Texas college circle, but the state of Texas high school circle, because he is an alum of North Shore. And where does Texas struggle to recruit the most? Houston. So,
Yep.
I think this is a very good hire. I don't know what he's going to do on the field, but I think off the field recruiting, I think he's got some good foundations. He's also coached under some very, very good coaches. So, what are your thoughts on Mark Orphy?
Listen, Mark Orphy, getting hired again, having those connections to Houston, having those connections is one of the key things. Again, we need to win the state, and being able to be behind a bigger program, being behind a blue blood, right? And not necessarily they didn't have the winningest program at Rutgers. They weren't necessarily a powerhouse, but they did fairly decent. And I think when you get behind, if you've got a good coach, players will follow you, regardless of the situation.
Yep.
I think with Mark Orphy being at Texas and being a decent coach, and then having this blue blood behind you, and being able to go into Houston and get these players in front of these coaches and get these players in front of the University of Texas, I think this is a really, really big thing. One thing that I will say about Texas is they've been able to recruit out of Dallas very, very well. They used to have a footprint in Houston, like a very, very big footprint. But since then, we've gotten players here and there. We might have a player go to a different school, maybe transfer in from Houston, and so forth. So again, being able to establish that footprint, being able to have that a stronger footprint within Houston is very, very big for us. I think being able to continue to recruit out of the state of Texas and lock down those top players. Again, majority of that 2005 national championship team, over 60% of that team was from the state of Texas.
Yeah.
That tells you alone what kind of power, what kind of recruiting power, what kind of caliber athletes these kids have, being able to pull these kids in from the state of Texas. So that's a big win. That's a big win. Being able to get somebody that has that footprint is always very, very good. Hopefully there's no fall off, and he continues to develop kids. Listen, when Blake Gideon first got announced as a positions coach, I was not necessarily happy about that. Blake Gideon had been he had a good career, but he had some very tough spots being a Longhorn. I think about Michael Crabtree. That comes to mind, that Michael Crabtree play where if he makes the tackle and just gets Michael Crabtree out of bounds, Texas plays Florida in a national championship. Which would have been crazy. At that point in time, it would have been Texas versus it would have been Texas in the last 3 of the 4 years. It would have been Texas in a national championship 3 times. So
it changes the perspective, right? Like
right.
one game in Lubbock changed like the entire trajectory of the program. If Texas gets to that game against Florida and Tim Tebow, I think they win that game, right? I think they beat Tim Tebow, and now you're talking about going potentially back to back, right? Because then you get in the next year against Alabama. Of course, we all know what happens there, but then we're like those types of moments are program changers, right?
And then of course, to look at Texas as a powerhouse, and again, after that Big 12, not that Big 12 championship, but after that loss to Bama in the national championship, we still continued to have good years, not as dominant as they could have been. I think with that win, if we would have beat Texas Tech when we should have, again, that changes the trajectory. I think that again puts Texas in a bigger platform. Okay, look, Texas has beat USC. Now you have an opportunity to go up against Florida. And that's really the matchup that people wanted to see, right? People wanted to see Texas versus Florida because that has always been a thing. Which state is better in football? Is it is it Texas kids or is it Florida kids? That would have been a thing, right? But it didn't happen. Blake Gideon goes, I believe he goes to the NFL. He doesn't have a long career, but he does eventually make his return to Texas. And I gotta give him his flowers. He's done exceptional.
Yeah, he's done really well.
He's done fantastic here. And again, that's not to say that his play. He had a great career here. He just so happened to run into one atrocious play that a lot of people don't forgive him for. And I think with what he's done here as a coach, I think he's been fantastic. I can't say that enough about him. The way he's turned around these guys, these defensive backs, these guys are hitting. These guys are some of the hardest hitters in the college football game. Like Makuba and Taff are they are headhunters. They've had some of the most fierce defensive backs in the country, and at the end of the day, that's really what you want. You want to have those guys be able to compete. You want to coach those guys up. These guys can tackle. These guys aren't scared to get physical, and you need that in the SEC. So, other than that, man, it just sucks to be in this position. This is the part of the position. This is what we don't talk about, right? This is what fans don't want to ever deal with, right? When you come in and you start having success, and you're having it consistently, things like this happens. You lose coordinators, you lose position coaches, you lose out on chances of opportunities to have big time recruits come to your school, because guess what? If your guy's going to the NFL, your guy's going to a different school, they don't want to talk to you no more. They don't.
Especially in this landscape, right? And this is where the competitive balance comes into play, right? Like it's no longer about now that NIL deal out of Georgia matters, right? Because before you were like, I might take less than NIL, but it doesn't matter. I'm working with Tashard Choice, right?
Right.
That's no longer the case. Like now it's like, well, hell, I don't know who's going to be here.
And for Tashard Choice to not go back to Georgia Tech, but Blake Gideon does, is crazy, because
crazy. It's kind of crazy
because Georgia Tech was his alma mater. He ends up going to Dallas, where he played for a few good years. He backed up. He was behind Marion Barber for a little bit. He was behind Julius Jones for a little bit. No, that was Felix Jones.
DeMarco Murray, right?
Was
he behind DeMarco Murray in Dallas?
No. It was Marion Barber. He was behind Marion Barber.
Right, he was behind Marion Barber. I thought he was also there.
He might have been behind Julius Jones as well.
Julius Jones.
But the thing is, he's done a great job. He's 40 years old. He's a young coach. He's gonna be all right. I would love to see those guys return. I know that's few and far in between. That just doesn't happen. But I would love to see him return.
Yeah. It is interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see where he goes. Of course, he does. Tashard Choice goes Oklahoma, Georgia Tech for school, right? So, which is Why did I think Tashard Choice went to? Oh, I was thinking about. I thought he went to Arkansas, and I kind of got him confused with Felix Jones.
No, he
I
went
don't
to
know why.
Oklahoma first, and then went to
Yeah,
Georgia.
Georgia Tech. Yep,
Right.
yep.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, we wish him the best. Of obviously the next one to go to Tashard Choice. Announced this morning, kind of out of nowhere after a couple of days, putting up a horns up with his daughter and saying, "Hey, I'm
It was
staying."
out of nowhere.
But money talks, man. And Dan Campbell spoke, and Tashard Choice listened. So he's gonna. I don't know exactly what his role with the Detroit Lions is going to be.
It's going to be
My
running
guess
back.
it's the same role. My guess
Yeah.
it's the same role because they haven't mentioned any other role.
And
Right?
guess who he's linked with? Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs is about to. Well, I mean, they Jahmyr Gibbs and they have DeAndre Swift.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a running back tandem that's going to be very good. As if they weren't already good, right?
Yeah.
They're going to be even better. So that makes me even more excited to see the Lions. Very, very.
Well, Jahmyr, and for those who don't know, Jahmyr Gibbs is out of Georgia Tech. Tashard Choice, again, a Georgia Tech alum, tying this all together. That was his thing. He recruited heavily. He heavily recruited Jahmyr Gibbs to come in to Georgia Tech. That was a thing. Before he left, before he came to Texas, that was a thing. Jahmyr Gibbs was highly sought out. He had a fantastic career. He went to Georgia Tech, but he had a fantastic year, and now he's reunited with his coach. And
he spends 2 years at Georgia Tech and then transfers to Bama.
Right.
So, and honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you, Tim. No idea why he went to Georgia Tech. I had no idea he went to Georgia Tech.
You didn't know Jahmyr Gibbs went to Georgia Tech?
I had no clue.
No, Jahmyr Gibbs.
I don't remember why. I don't know why I don't remember, but I didn't know that. It just didn't click because he was a 4 or 5 star recruit, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he was a top recruit. So
Jahmyr Gibbs.
It's gonna be interesting to see what happens. Obviously, there's a connection there, right? So we'll see what happens.
And you know what? They might have done that because they want to keep Jahmyr Gibbs in Detroit. And why wouldn't you be like, hey, what can we do to keep you here? What can we do to keep you happy? Because Jahmyr Gibbs is one of the best NFL running backs in the entire league. I would say he's top 5 for sure. I would
top 5 running backs in the league.
I mean, him, Derrick Henry, Saquon, Nick Chubb when he's healthy, but he's not healthy. James Cook. I think he's up there. He's a home run hitter, dog.
So Saquon's obviously 1, right? Derrick Henry 2. Jahmyr Gibbs is top 3 for sure. Bijan's top 5.
Bijan, yeah.
And then you kind of get, I think 5 is debatable. Some could say Josh Gibbs or Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor, Kyron Williams, James Cook.
I'm saying James Cook. The way James Cook running the ball, he looks really good. When he actually started going, they actually started running the ball more in Buffalo. He looked fantastic. So that would be my top 5. You got Saquon, Derrick Henry, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan, and James Cook. Those guys right there.
I think it's fair.
They look good. Nothing against anybody else. But I'm just saying, if we were doing fantasy football right now, those are the guys I'm going after.
Yeah, for sure. And Ashley, thanks you for the breakdown of everything that you saw or that you just said. She wants to say thank you for the breakdown, even though she had no idea what you were just talking about. She
had no idea what I was talking about. Absolutely. Shout out.
All right. Anything else on obviously the running back search will begin.
Listen. I have an idea who I want. I have an idea who I want.
I know who I want. Who do you want?
He's talked about it before. He wants to coach. He wants to coach at the University of Texas if given the opportunity. And he thinks that he can make a difference through not only just player and coaching relationships, but also astrology. And that's my boy Ricky Williams, the GOAT.
Ooh.
Ricky wants to coach. He's mentioned it. He's talked about it.
He wants to coach at Texas.
You didn't know this?
Longhorn legend?
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna no. I'm gonna find it. This happened actually last month during the college football playoff. He got interviewed, and in the interview, they asked him, "Hey, if given the opportunity to coach at the University of Texas, would you do it?" And Ricky said emphatically, "Yes, I would do it. Here's why. I feel like I would be able to," and I'm paraphrasing here. He said that he felt like he would be able to connect with the kids on a different level outside of like football. Like he feels like he would be able to build a more personable relationship with those kids. If they are able to get Ricky Williams, and actually, you know what? I'm going to make sure that this tweet goes out tonight, and I'll make sure to at him. That guy would instantly bring in recruits. He didn't even have to do anything. It's Ricky Williams, bro.
Yeah.
It's Ricky. Again, right? And like Coach Ricky Williams, bro. Yeah.
Listen, I didn't even think that's I actually didn't think about Ricky Williams. I mean, I think to me the obvious choice is Rashad Samples. You talk about one of the premier running back coaches in the country. He's currently the running backs coach at Oregon. He just got there last year. And you see or maybe he's been there a couple weeks. You see what he's been able to do from a recruiting point. He's very well respected in Texas.
Do you think you're going to be able to poach that guy from Oregon to Texas?
Yes. Why not?
Okay, so explain to me, because
it's the University of Texas.
It's Oregon, and like honestly,
no. Listen, Tim. I know it's Oregon, but Oregon is not higher in stature than the University of Texas. It's not.
It's not about that. But for whatever reason, these kids, when they go to Oregon and they come from Texas, they don't come back. And
because they got well, that's Nike, but that's not coaches, man. I think if Rashad Samples wanted to come to the University of Texas, or if Texas wanted him to come, I think he would come.
I don't know. Ashley is still in this thing, though.
Shout out to you, Ashley. I'm very impressed that you're.
She has no idea what's going on. She just wants to be a part of the show right now.
Share it with your friends, Ashley. We need more people to listen and watch. It helps the algorithm. Help us beat Elon's broken algorithm by sharing with your friends. Even though it's not Elon's algorithm. That's neither here nor there, though. Don't worry about that part. All right, Tim. We're going to talk about something we have no idea what we're talking about, right? At least I don't. I don't know. Disney Squad, which is what the original title of the show is. But I do want to touch on it because there are a couple guys on this team that I really, really like.
First off, wait, shout out to me for having the pink polo for Valentine's Day. You didn't even recognize it.
Oh, Valentine's Day is tomorrow.
Valentine's Day. Did you get your wife something for Valentine's Day?
I sure did. I got a plan. I got a plan and everything for Valentine's.
What are you gonna do?
Well, I can't say. She could be listening.
Oh yeah, she could be listening because she do like to sneak. She do like to be on the sneak.
She's a little peeker, man.
This how we get her out. Colorado sucks.
She a little. What do they call them? What do they call them in the street? She's
alert,
bro.
She likes to lurk. She likes to lurk. Hey Ariel, Colorado sucks.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I've got a plan. We're gonna go out to eat at a restaurant Sunday night, and then I've got some stuff.
All right.
All right, Tim. we're going to attempt to talk about Texas baseball. Obviously, the start of Jim Schlossnagel, the former Texas A&M coach, turned Texas overnight, literally overnight.
That
One
was
of the greatest sports moments of all time.
that was probably, like, no lie, outside of the football season, that might have been one of the greatest, like, sports moments of the year last year, especially for
It really was. Man.
First off, we were getting dog walks by everybody. Okay, you want to talk about baseball? We were 24-12 at home. It seemed like we only won on the road. On the road, we were 11-5. We were great on the road. We lose twice in the Big 12 championship. We should have won those games.
Yeah.
We lost to Tech. I want to say we lost to Iowa State. Should have won those games. We didn't. Okay. Then we get to the College World Series. We look good. We look good. Drop the last two games. Then we're out.
A game you lose to A&M. Speaking of Schlossnagel, you lose to A&M.
You
A
lose
game
to
you should have
A&M.
won in the regional, right? So you don't even get to the super regional. You lose to A&M. That game was painful, and I think the pitching on this team was not very good.
That game, we both watched that an A&M game. They went 11 innings in that game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it should have never gotten that far, right? Like the pitching on this team was just bad. It was just bad, and so you bring in Schlossnagel. He brings in his pitching
boatload.
coach.
He brings in a pitcher.
Max Weiner?
I forget the kid's name. He brings in a kid. He flips a couple of guys. They come to Texas. We get Jonah Williams. Jonah comes to Texas. Jonah wants to
what his role is going to be on this team.
I did look at the roster. He is supposed to, I want to say he's supposed to be
I thought he was going to be a relief pitcher or a pitcher.
Is he going to be a pitcher?
Yeah, John. Well, no, he's listed as an
outfielder. He's outfielder.
Okay, but he's got some pitching arm. He's got a pitching arm though too, right?
Yeah.
And I wish we were able to get Nash again. You know, these are the types of things I was curious about. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with this pitching rotation. I don't know what the rotation's going to be, but you know, these are some of the pitchers we've got: Ethan Walker, Ace Whitehead, Jonah Williams, Easton Winfield, and then you've got Grayson Saunier, Kimball. No, that's not a pitcher. Drew Rurick.
All right, Ashley, you can go now. We understand.
No idea.
Pretty in pink. Way to go,
I do what I can. I appreciate it, actually. I appreciate it. Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know half of it.
Listen, all I know is that the things that they were doing last year, giving up big runs, we know for a fact that pitching was a big time situation, a big time. It was a problem, and you can't do that in the SEC. Listen, you got Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Louisiana, Florida, hell, even Mississippi State is good. You cannot afford to be this bad as you were in the Big 12 here. And listen, Oklahoma. We can't forget Oklahoma. Oklahoma is really good. We can't throw out A&M, even though we stole their coach. Can't throw them out. They're not gonna be. They're
preseason number one.
Huh?
A&M's preseason number one.
Yeah. I mean,
so A&M's good, and LSU is always good at baseball.
LSU is always good at baseball.
So it's gonna be a dogfight.
you can't be as sloppy as they have been in the past. Listen, I'm not going to remember players off the top of my head. I'm trying to remember an entire baseball team, an entire basketball team, and an entire football team that's got 135 plus players on it ain't happening. Something's going to give. So baseball is going to be that sport. I'm sorry, guys, for you baseball enthusiasts out there. But what I do know is from what I watched last year, and I watched quite more a bit baseball than I thought I ever would. They just can't make the same mistakes that they did last year. Lots of pitching errors, lots of trying to come alive in the second half of the game. Can't do that. You cannot do that. You can't, not in the SEC where these teams are these guys are pumping out professionals out of the wind, like you left and right. You can't do that and then expect to get into the college baseball world series and end up playing majority of these teams again. You can't do that. So
you will see these teams again, right?
Like if you get listen, I would not be surprised if Florida, LSU, Vanderbilt, Arkansas. I think those you can even Tennessee. Can't forget Tennessee. They don't suck.
Champions. You can't forget about the national champions.
This is going to be an interesting situation. With the guys that are coming in, the only thing that I can hope for is that we have an all-around team that can play defense, that can put up points. We know that they can get hot. Texas has always been able to get hot. They've always had big bats.
Yep.
It's about being consistent with those bats. And that's really, to me, as far as a baseball team is concerned, you got to be consistent on all phases because you can't just go in and think that you're going to blow somebody out the park. You got to be able to play all phases, period.
Yeah, for sure. Listen, Texas has bats, man. Jalen Flores comes back. He's a big bat. Will Gasparino is a guy that has a big bat. Those are your two big guys here, right?
Yep.
And from there, you get a couple of pitchers. Dylan Valantis was a big freshman that they were able to get in recruiting this year, and maybe he plays a role. Max Bellew is another big bat that you've got. So you've got some bats on the offensive side of this team. I'm really curious to see what Max Wiener does with the pitching of the staff, because that's going to be the big one, right? It depends on how much he can develop these pitchers, and that's the thing that was missing with Pierce is he had just not been able to develop the pitchers, and they couldn't stay healthy. So, Tim, do you want to tell Ashley? Ask Ashley. Tell Ashley who your Valentine is. Do you have one?
Yes, I do have a Valentine. I will not give her name over the internet, but yes, I do. And I do. And I did get her Valentine's Day. Yes, I did.
There you go. Well, your answer's right there. Tim does have a Valentine. So, so again, I don't know what to expect for this team, but what are your expectations? Like, what would you call, just based on what you know, what would you say is a successful season?
Year one, I'm not going to sit up here and be like, oh, I'm expecting a championship. I'm expecting this. I'm expecting that. So new coach, new players, a lot of overturn, a lot of mixing with the old and the new players, old coaches, it's a mix. So now they got an opportunity to go out here tomorrow and to show us what they have. I don't want to say that they should be competing for a SEC championship. I don't want to put that out there. That is very, very tough to be putting on people. However, what I will say is that I do expect for them to at least compete in an SEC tournament. I want them to at least be able to get to the SEC tournament. You can get in the SEC tournament, win a couple of games. Obviously, if you're winning, because I do believe that the SEC is the best conference for baseball. I do believe that if you're able to get in the SEC tournament and you're able to win a couple of games, not win the whole thing, but if you're able to win a couple of games, you will be able to get into the uh, college World Series. I do believe that. So just getting to the getting to the SEC conference or the SEC tournament, win a couple of games and see where you go from there. At that point, on year one, you can progress from there. Then let's see where you go from there. I'm not expecting them to make a deep run. Do they have the talent? Obviously, because we've seen it come down the pike and we reported on it about how highly recruited some of these guys are, about how Schloss was able to get a lot of these guys to flip from A&M, from different schools that come into the University of Texas. I think one of the big reasons why Jonah Williams is here, again, another A&M guy that was going to go to A&M, and how crazy would he would have been when we had to line up against that guy next year in baseball and football. But now because of being able to go and get Schloss coming down here, it made it easier to go and get Jonah Williams, which we both agree, and we talked about this last year. We don't think Schloss liked A&M at all.
That was really weird. Like
I think he hated that being down there at A&M. I think he went because he got an opportunity to be a head coach. By all means, I understand that. But there was just some interviews, and Harish, me and you talked about it. He was not comfortable there. You could tell him answering questions in the media wasn't comfortable. Him talking to fans, you could just clearly see that he wasn't comfortable. Even him getting out there and getting to the College World Series, he was not comfortable. And you could just it wasn't a situation of like he didn't want to be here. He just flat out said that the fan base is weird.
Yeah, I'm never gonna. That interview is still one of the craziest things I've seen a coach say about his own.
Y'all are weird. Like y'all are weirdos.
He was like, bro, fans are weird. Bro.
He said this place is weird, and the next thing you know, he was gone. It was like a thief in the night, like a thief in the night, dude. That day when we posted that on TikTok, when I tell you that was the most engagement I have ever seen on any of our TikTok. I remember Arch Manning. Arch Manning got a lot of posts. We got like 20,000, 30,000 views on that. But
just wait until Arch Manning in the spring, man. That's gonna go wild.
When Coach Schloss came out there and we announced that people thought we were lying. Yeah. People thought that we lied. Like as soon as it came out, clicked it up together, posted it on TikTok, and nobody believed us. They were like, why would he do that? He just literally came from a College World Series. He just played in the College World Series a couple days ago. Why would he leave A&M and go to Texas? That's stupid. Texas ain't like y'all are lying. Like a lot. If you go and look at some of those comments, he was like, y'all. People were like, y'all are lying. Y'all just want our coach. Like A&M fans are going crazy. And then when it came, like we were able to put it up faster than ESPN was able to get it up.
Yeah.
And that's kind of hard to do. But when you're able to catch it, if you're on Twitter, listen, regardless of how shit the social media site is now, it is so fast, so much faster than any other social media outlet. News drops on that stuff so quick. At some points, and me and Harisa talk about it all the time, it gets overwhelming. It's so much stuff that's dropping at one point, you can't keep up. So if we're trying to update you on certain things, and like we just can't keep up all the time. I'm just being completely honest. Harish mans Twitter very well. And I'm more on TikTok and commenting on TikTok and having conversations with you guys on TikTok. So it gets really, really difficult. But what a time, dude. That was awesome. That was awesome. That was a great a great day for University of Texas sports for sure.
I will say, kind of what you said, right? I don't know what to expect, right? What I do want to see though is I want to see competitive baseball. I want to see this team fight. I want to see this. I don't care if they don't make the College World Series or don't get whatever, right? What I do want to see is I want to see some of those games they lost last year. I like to see them win.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them win because of pitching. It doesn't have to be every game. You don't have to be over. You don't even have to be over 500 in those types of games, right? What you can't do is lose. You can't lose to mid majors, and you can't lose pitching battles, right? And to me, I think I think the bats are going to be there, right? I think from what I've seen from some folks out there, Occupy LF, Nash, the bats are going to be there, right? That's nothing to worry about. What we do need to worry about is pitching, and it seems like that's still an issue. And so we'll see how things play out, right? I'm not sure how things are going to play out, but we'll see. So we'll keep an eye out on the season. At some point, we will get Nash on the show. We'll talk more about baseball because we're casuals when it comes to baseball. We don't have a diddly squat about baseball. Also, to be fair, college baseball is very confusing in terms of like signing versus being drafted and then like that whole the whole recruiting process in baseball is confusing. So
they have their own system because you could be in college, get drafted, and still be playing.
Yep. So I don't get it.
I don't get it.
Also, they do their draft in season. I think that's how it works. Why it works?
They do. If I'm not mistaken, they do their draft.
It's in season
during the College World Series. Yeah,
something like that. It's like early or either like late spring, early summer. I think. Let me see when the MLB draft is because Major League Baseball baseball season is the only sport that starts and ends in the same calendar.
It's very weird. Very, very weird.
Let's see. MLB. Yeah, the MLB draft is July 13th. Smack dab in the middle of the MLB. In the dog days of summer is when the MLB draft.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of the baseball season. So if you think about it, college baseball starts tomorrow. It'll end like June.
Yeah.
Major League Baseball starts like in beginning of April and ends in October. Right? Baseball is the only sport that starts and ends in the same calendar. Oh. And they play, and both of those, like Texas has like what? I think there's like 30 games on here.
Yeah, and if you make it, you should be playing around that time that happens, right? If you're playing in the College World Series,
or if you're in the College World, the SEC, to give you the SEC content, the SEC tournament is May 20th to May 20th.
Yeah.
So you're going into June, right? If you're playing in the College World Series, you're going into June. And then like 3 weeks later is the draft. After that.
Yeah.
And you're also playing every day or every other, whatever, right? So
anyway. And then they play in these bunches, and sometimes they
every game is a series or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, it's very weird. It's very, very weird. But listen, baseball is very weird. But listen, shout out to the Longhorn baseball team. They got a game tomorrow against Louisville at 7:00. They play on Saturday against Ole Miss. Yes, they play Saturday against Ole Miss, and then Sunday that first slate of games called the Shiners Children's College Showdown. Sunday they play at 6:30 against Oklahoma State, and they play at Arlington. I don't necessarily know how this is going to go down. The weather's kind of been kind of crappy these last couple of days. Lots of rain within in the Texas area. It's cooled off a little bit. It's supposed to warm back up here, I think, after this week or so. It's just like in the 50s and 60s. Normally, we're kind of in the 70s and 80s right now. But we got this storm roll through here, so I don't know how that's going to take place. But go ahead.
Globe Life is an indoor field.
Oh, indoor field. Okay, well then never mind. Okay, never mind.
Globe Life, by the way, is very, very cool. Very cool.
Never been to Globe Life.
I got a chance to check it out after the Rangers won the World Series.
Okay.
Very, very cool.
Okay.
It's actually really sweet.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think it is, and that's also biased, right? I'm a Rangers fan, and hopefully the Rangers don't get hurt all year, and we can return to being competitive. We'll see. But yeah,
My,
I mean, yeah, I
my
just
Red
I just
Sox are already
see,
pissing me off.
huh?
My Red Sox are already pissing me off, man.
Didn't they just pick somebody up?
Yes, they picked up a pitcher and they overpaid for him because that's what we do with the Red Sox.
I mean,
That
when
is
you need
what
pitching,
we
you overpay. I wish the
do.
Rangers would overpay for a pitcher. Oh wait, we did. We have Jacob DeGrom. He hasn't played in 2 years.
Oh,
Nice. He's playing this year though, and we get Jacob DeGrom and Evo back this year, healthy for the first time ever. We'll see what
that's
happens for the Rangers. It's never happened. Like DeGrom and Evo have never been healthy together. They played hurt together in the World Series, but it's never been healthy. So we'll see what happens.
we signed Alex Bregman to a
Oh,
$120
Bregman.
yeah, $120 million deal.
Hey,
Uh,
that's basically like $10 million in baseball money.
I get it. I mean,
That's
yeah.
nothing. That's like $10 million. Playing in baseball, that's not nothing. So listen, Tim, I know we had spring football. I think we pushed that to next week. So we have something to talk about. And I think we wrap up for the show tonight because we're already at an hour, and I want to try to keep these at an hour during the off season. So let's go ahead and get out of here for the night, right? Before we get out of here, though, where can the people find you?
You can find me at Tim Wayne on Twitter. You can find me pretty much at Tim Wayne everywhere. Let's talk sports. We've got a couple of things coming down the track. We've got NFL Combine, where we have 11 Longhorns, I believe, in the NFL Combine. Or going pro. I don't know who's going to be in the Combine. They haven't announced who's going to be in the Combine.
No, they did. Actually, hold on.
The Combine. Wait, you know what? The Combine invites did go out. I don't know collectively who's all going to actually participate in the Combine.
Yeah.
Let me say that. So that's coming up actually next week. Is the Combine?
Oh, here we go. There's 14 Longhorns that were invited.
There we
Quinn
go.
Ewers, Jaden Blue, Isaiah Bond, Matthew Golden, Gunnar Helm, Kelvin Banks, Hayden Connor, Jake Majors, the entire offensive line, right? Cameron Williams, Alfred Collins, Brennan Bryant, Barron Sorrells, Jade Barron, and Andrew McCuba. That is the list of invitees.
Right.
All very, very good players.
Yeah, we will definitely have we'll definitely keep the coverage on that. That is going to be a lot of coverage, guys. So we'll try to make sure that we get everything 40 times, bench press reps, all that good stuff. We'll try to make sure that you get all of that. If you cannot watch it or if you're at work or whatever the case you may be, we'll try to make sure that all of that is available on all of our social media channels. So yeah, I'm excited about that. That is one thing. Also, after that, we've got pro days. February and March, these are crucial months. Once you think about it, February, you got the combine. March, you got pro days. April is the draft. That's it. Then we start to move on to other things, you know.
In the middle of all that, you have spring ball.
March Madness. I don't know if we're gonna make it. We're gonna
be in March Sadness, bro. Our madness is gonna be Rodney Terry getting fired. That's our madness.
Is that really sad at this point? I've been off Rodney Terry for about 2 years now.
No, I mean, I just joined the club. Like after I saw we'll talk about Rodney Terry next week. I've got some time.
Hopefully, we don't have a 5-game losing streak going into February or ending
I have some thoughts around the program in general.
Okay. Well, we'll definitely start off with that. Where can they find you?
You can find me at the Uncle Gandhi. And you can find me, of course, here, LH FanBat on Twitter. And then before we get out of here, though, shout out to Madison Booker tonight. 19 points, 4 assists, 8 rebounds.
Madison Booker, bro.
Kevin Durant.
We have not been able to give those girls the proper love that they deserve.
They just beat the number 1 team in the country.
They took down US. They took down SC. Okay. They took down the mighty South Carolina Gamecocks. They took down Kentucky tonight. They look good.
Convincingly.
They look good. They look like they're ready to compete. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the men need to do, but the men need to go and figure out what it is to be competitive, how to be competitive, get some shots off, play some great defense.
Well, this is what's crazy. The men play excellent defense. They actually play really good defense under Rodney Terry. They can't score and they can't rebound. That's the problem. That's always been the problem. They can't shoot.
I'm gonna say this. This is a controversial take. I'm gonna say this out loud. I don't care anymore. I miss Chris Beard.
I do too.
I miss Chris Beard.
Chris Beard wanted to come back tomorrow and say, "Hey, I want to come back to Texas."
You throw the kitchen sink at it.
How much?
Like what?
How much you want, Chris? Listen, we're sorry. How much do you want? Yeah, I'd like. We'll see. Obviously, see what happens let's let the season play out. But yeah. I'm very curious to see. Let's see what's let's see how the season plays out and see what happens with
If you don't make it to the tournament, you gotta go.
I don't care about
even if you don't make at least a Sweet 16 or an Elite 8 with this type of talent that you have on the team, you gotta go. You gotta go.
Team's just not playing well together right now.
You have too much talent. You have too many resources to not be in a situation where you're competing for a national championship. I'm not even trying to get a national championship. You should at least be competing to get into the Elite 8. Like you should.
I think that's the problem, right? And that's kind of what I want to talk about. Like, what is the issue here? Is it these coaches, or is it just the program and our expectation of what the program should be? And that's what I really want to talk about next week, because I don't have a theory. I have an opinion, probably going to be frowned upon amongst Texas fans. And I'm curious to hear what you think, because I think our expectations are way too high of this program. I do not think we should be holding the expectations as high on the basketball program as we do the football program. And I think that's where we miss the point.
To be fair, to combat that, even with Rick Barnes, even though Rick Barnes wasn't winning national championships, Rick Barnes majority of the time was making deep runs in the tournament.
Rick Barnes made 2 deep runs.
He did. Final 4 deep runs, yes, but he was at least getting to a Sweet 16. He was at least getting to an Elite 8. Dude, were there times that we had some terrible losses? Absolutely, but we did not suffer our worst loss with Rick Barnes. Our worst loss was with Ronnie Terry when he lost to Abilene Christian.
That was shocking.
He gotta go.
That was shocking. And then he got fired.
My bad. That was terrible. That was
thing, right? That was Shaka, but look where Shaka is now. I'm telling you, it's not. Is it the coaches, or is there something wrong with this program? That's the reason. Here. I've got it pulled up right now. This is Rick Barnes, right? First year, first round exit. Second year, round of 30, second round exit. Third year, first round exit. Gets to the Sweet 16 in 01. And then he gets to the Final Four, right? This is Rick Barnes after that. And he's at Texas for 10 more years after that, right?
Right.
So you get to the Final Four in 02. What's the deepest run they made after the Final Four?
Elite 8.
How many times?
3 times.
Once in 10 years. Once. One elite run after that in 10 years. That's just the program.
Yeah. Miami?
That was 2000. It's the same year Texas won the national title, 2005, 2006. Once. Well, actually, you know what? I lied. Sorry, he got there in 07 too. So twice. Twice in 10 years. So he gets there in
was
2007.
that was PJ Tucker year.
I think so. He gets there in 2007. I'll check here in a second, right? He's here for 7 more years after that. And the best he does is the second. Doesn't even get to a Sweet 16 after that. That's just not the trajectory of this program. That is not what Texas basketball is. Texas basketball is like in basketball terms, right? We are happy to get to the Elite Eight. Like that's a successful season, right? Like in Texas football, if you get to the semifinals, it's not good enough. Like that, we are about to head into it. It's not good enough. No,
Right.
Football. For Texas basketball, if you get to the Elite Eight, that's a successful season. That is why they got hyped and paid Rodney Terry, because we haven't been to the Elite Eight since the last time Rick Barnes took us. And at that time, it was almost 20 years.
Yeah, that's insane.
So I don't think we have reasonable expectations as a fan base for what the Texas basketball program is. We are not a blue blood basketball program. It's just not who we are. We're barely we're not even like a tier 4 program, a tier 3 program. We're just not. So we'll talk about that more next week, because that's my opinion. I think our expectations of the basketball program are way too high.
Okay.
All righty, folks. Well, we're going to get out of here. Of course, my name's Harish. That's my guy, Tim.
So, Gabriel.
Go home. Touchdown like the end zone. When the circle turn to my home, can't get me out of my zone. Go hard, or go home.